Hi, I'm Luke Gilfillan. Welcome to the Lounge with Luke Gilfillan. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Lounge with Luke Gilfillan. Today we have
Ben Wang.
So Ben, do you want to do a brief description of yourself for those who don't know you?
Alright, my name is Ben Wang. I am 15 years old. I am a tall, handsome Asian male.
Yeah, that's true.
Luke can vouch for that.
I can vouch for that, yeah.
And I go to Whitney Young.
He goes to Whitney Young, okay. Do you do any activities, either inside or outside of school, that you find interesting?
I do band mostly
Band.
music-related things. I don't really have a social life, so it's mostly band, yeah.
Yeah. Does Whitney Young have a good music program there, or compared to Roosevelt or OPRF, do you think?
I mean, I've seen OPRF performances, and they're pretty much the same. Like, OPRF does have a lot more resources than Whitney does. But I think Whitney Young is pretty good.
So why do you think Whitney Young has less resources that might be available to OPRF? Is it like public school versus charter school?
Because it's a Chicago public school. So, and the OPRF is in the suburbs.
Okay. So you're the first person I've had on this podcast, I believe, that does not go to OPRF. Can you describe your high school to those of you who don't know it?
Whitney Young's a school in Chicago. It's I don't know where on like the Chicago map, but if you take the blue line to Racine and you get off, it's just right there.
All right. So what do you think a school that's in a city environment has different than maybe in the suburbs? Maybe you can take that from your experience at Roosevelt or...
There's a lot more different kinds of people you'll find in the city because they come from all over Chicago, from like north to south, some rich areas, some poor areas, and it's a very diverse place. So you get to learn a lot about how different people live, as well as how they interact with problems differently than other people would.
All right. So Whitney Young had an incident earlier last year in which a threatening bathroom graffiti was discovered, similar to an incident that happened at OPRF, except there wasn't a racial thing around it. Can you tell us a little more about that incident?
All right. So a week before December 5th, there was a graffiti found in the boys' and the girls' bathroom saying that, I don't know what it said, but it was pretty violent. It was saying, like, you're all gonna die or something. I think it's just some edgy teen. They just wanted to start something. But they wrote a date. It was 12/5, December 5th. And on that day, over half the kids on the school didn't show up. But, of course, I showed up, and nothing happened. But it was weird, yeah.
Was there a lot more, like, security around the school?
After that incident, there was a lot more security. Like, they would run you through a metal detector, and sometimes they'd pat you down. But Whitney Young security is really bad.
Oh, well, you guys have metal detectors. We don't really have that at OPRF, I believe. A lot of people are alleging that that's a very disruptive process. Do you think it was very disruptive to go through those metal detectors just to think about implementing them at OPRF, maybe?
The first week, it was really bad. It was time-consuming because everyone had to go through it. But after a week or two, they would select maybe 1 out of 10, and they'd send you through. But I don't think it was really efficient because people, if you wanted to, you could still probably get something in there without them noticing.
Without going through a metal detector?
Yeah, without going through a metal detector. And, you know, like those airport things when you can kind of see inside?
Yeah, those.
Like,
did they have to put your bags in those?
They put your bag inside that
wow.
thing like the airport has, and you can see kind of inside. But then again, security guards at Whitney Young, I think they don't get paid enough, so they don't really take their job seriously. So that's what I mean, where you can just, if you wanted to, you probably could get something in there without them noticing.
Well, I'll say the security guards at OPRF are very good at their jobs. If there's a fight breaking out, they're able to handle it in less than 2 seconds. It's hard to get a second punch off with those guys. They're very alert, and they're very nice people overall. Do you have the same thing at Whitney Young, or are they?
No, I don't think our security guards are as good as your security guards. No.
Yeah. All right, so looking at OPRF from like an outside perspective, that you might have a different one from people that go to OPRF, what is your general perception of the school?
Well, school's pretty cool, you know? like normally when people see from Chicago see, from what I've heard, people that see like a suburban school, they always assume it's some rich place with a bunch of white kids, which isn't really wrong, but like cause since that was my local high school, I was supposed to go there, so I do know some of the people that do attend there, and like I don't know, I feel both ways kind of.
Yeah, okay. So, what is your goal for, or wait, no, we'll go back to that later. You've gone to Whitney Young for almost a year now, right? During this year, what was the greatest challenge you have had while there?
I say adapting to the environment, because it is a bigger place, overall Chicago, and the whole vibe is different. It's a lot more intense, I guess, because people, I don't know, it's tough to make friends in the beginning, and it's tough to learn to trust everybody, but like, after a while you get used to it, and it's just chill from there.
What do you think the social environment at Whitney Young? Is it more negative overall? Is there more conflict between students or groups of students than you would find at maybe Roosevelt Middle School or OPRF, do you think? I mean, you don't go to OPRF, so you wouldn't know the difference, but what do you think are some changes that might...
If I'm getting your question correctly, I don't think... well, I'm kind of like making up stuff on the spot. I don't think there's really a like social stigma kind of thing between two groups of people, or like the different genders and whatever. The administration really cracks down on Dr. Kenner, the principal, she calls it bullying, but it's just like a simple word for like being racist or misogynistic or whatever. She just says that just be good people, and she does not tolerate anything but that, because she'll suspend you without even a warning.
Oh.
So they're a lot tougher on that regard. So I think that's why there's not as much stigma that I thought there would be.
All right. So what is your goal for high school, or what do you want to do before you get out of high school? What's your overall goal for your either academic or outside of school career?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really think about it that much, but it's just take some honors classes, do some sports, do some clubs, make some good friends, get into college. Yeah. It's just the simple stuff.
All right, so adding on to that, what is your goal for when you get out of high school or in your overall life, either career-wise or...
Well, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, so, I mean, high school is just kind of like a big journey. I just want to figure out what I want to do within the 4 years, and when I get out, I hopefully have a job.
All right. So, can you take me through your decision-making from not going to OPRF and going to Whitney Young? You had both options, am I correct? Yeah. What was your decision-making to choose Whitney Young over a school like OPRF?
There's a couple of reasons. One was that I invested, or my family, I guess, we invested a lot of time into just figuring out how the CPS system works and taking all the tests and just trying and learning the system and trying to kind of just use it and get into one of these schools. And I thought it would be kind of a waste to invest all this time and money in like mental capacity, mental state, and mental everything, and then just say no to it when I already got in. There's also the family factor where my parents are like, Whitney Young is technically a better school based on academics. So they just want me to go to a academically better school because they believe it's better for me. I mean, I can't agree or disagree with that. But no offense to OPRF, but Whitney Young is technically better.
Technically, okay. So you mentioned that you had to get into Whitney Young. Was there a test to get in, or? Yeah,
you have to take a CPS map test. It's just the same thing as a map test, except it's just CPS, and then you need to take the entrance exam. If you pass that, then you're all set, basically. Then you can take extra tests, like if you want to test into higher classes, higher like math classes or history or science classes or languages. You have to take extra tests to do that.
Alright. So, Is there anything you think Whitney Young does especially well compared to other schools, specifically OPRF?
I mentioned it before, but I think they have a good administration. I think all of the members there are really confident, and they believe that what they do is best for the students. Also, they're easy to talk to. Our principal has an open door policy. You can just walk in and talk to her about anything that's troubling you. And I'm sure all the other administration members do the same thing. They really like to listen to students, and even though they might not show up often and they don't seem to care, they do a lot of stuff that the students kind of suggest.
Alright. So, what things do you think Whitney Young can do to improve on in the future? Do you have any suggestions for them, or? Yeah.
I think they should invest more money and teachers into some extra classes that might not be traditional.
Some more electives?
Some more electives. They should probably focus more on the arts and just not core classes, not science and math and English. They should branch out a bit, in my opinion. Our principal, she only holds pep rallies for football teams and basketball teams, but we never see one for dance or the choir. Or, you get what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So I think they should just branch out in some of the classes.
Yeah, so that kind of brings up the point of academic versus athletic. I know a lot of schools, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, you're putting too much focus on athletics and not as much on academics. Do you think that Whitney Young does do that? They put too much focus on athletics rather than academics?
I think it's good balance. The principal does have a bias towards sports, because I don't know, she's a big baseball fan and basketball and football and everything. Overall, I think it's fairly balanced. We have decent sports teams. Also, our academics are really good. I think it's overall balanced.
Okay. Would you like to add anything or plug any social medias?
No, I wouldn't. I don't want anyone finding me.
Okay. So thank you so much for coming on the show or whatever. Ben Wang, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for listening. The Lounge with Luke Gilfillan comes out every Saturday and Sunday. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you would be interested in getting notified every time a video comes out, hit the gray bell right next to the subscribe button. Credits, sources, and errors are in the description. If you find an error that I missed, please put it in the comments section. If you are interested in donating to my channel, because I bought recording equipment, which kind of costed a lot, my Patreon, which is a donation site, is in the description. If you have any feedback, put it in the comments section. Toodaloo.